I'm going to ask humbly if you could please share this video and get this message out. I've since basically 2012 trying to put warnings out there or let people know or wake people up to the fact that things aren't right and they haven't been right for a long time. And I really hope you could share this video and get this message out there. One of my biggest regrets of being on social media, thousands of live streams, thousands of videos all these years, is that no one ever took me seriously. People saw me as a very severely uneducated person that just wanted to make a YouTube channel for the sake of making videos. And one of my biggest downfalls or regrets is I just wish more people could have taken me seriously. So more and more, this is Mark Crispin Miller, Substack.com. You guys could check it out. We've had Lucy of Syracuse that came on that works with the Substack that was compiling all this information of people just dying, young people dying. Now, if this was 10, 12 years ago and someone died with no cause of death reported at the age of 23, you'd have doctors fly in from Pittsburgh into Canada to figure out why this guy died. But now people are dropping like flies and the mainstream media is not exploring this. And no cause of death reported. No cause of death reported. And it's one after another of innocent blood that's spilling. No cause of death reported at 31. Prayers to the families. And they're going through a really tough time right now. Now, I really want to reference a video that we made many years ago that I would like to bring back, and I would like to reference it on today's video. 5.5 years ago, 5 years and I think 8 months ago, we made a video called 1 in 10 Canadians will be euthanized by 2025. Governments will force anyone and everyone. And it's very important that we talk about this because we were warning people in Australia that MAID would be coming. Assisted suicide to New Zealand, assisted suicide to the UK. And they're going to be targeting middle-class individuals. They're going to be targeting the specific culture that makes up that country. So Canadian proper is being targeted. Australian proper is being targeted, right? So this is a very, I just wish more than 600 people or 700 people watched this video because 1 in 10 Canadians will be euthanized by 2025. And that was, again, 5 years, 8 months ago. Now, this was sent to me this morning and I really want to share it with you guys. This is from a month ago, but I need to get this message out. Canada is on track for another record-busting year of euthanasia deaths with a 35% jump to some 13,500 state-sanctioned suicide in 2022. And sanctioned, what are we talking about 2024 will be? 2024 will be the year of government-sanctioned murder. And I made this very clear back in 2020. I made this extremely clear back in 2020. 2023 will be the year of the coffin. Data from Ontario, Alberta, and Quebec show steep rises in euthanasia deaths. In Quebec, 7% of all deaths were state-assisted suicide last year. And read about the Princeton scholars' controversial take on euthanizing newborns. And there it is right there. And disgusting. Absolutely horrendously disgusting. Canada has seen another record-busting year of euthanasia deaths with a 35% rise in some 13,500 state-sanctioned suicides in 2022. An analysis of official data shows. Canada's health chiefs won't release their former tally for some weeks, but data from Ontario, Alberta, Quebec, and Nova Scotia already show steep rises in euthanasia deaths last year. Watch where they're going to be in 2023 when they release those. Based on those numbers, Euthanasia Prevention Coalition campaign group assessed the medical-assisted dying MAID. Cases rose from 10,064 in 2021 to some 13,500 in 2022. This is people being euthanized But this doesn't take into account the people that are dropping like flies that have no cause of death reported. This is becoming a major problem in Canada. And they shared their projection exclusively with the dailymail.com. Canada has one of the world's... Now, they see how Canada needs to get the information out. And that's why I'm begging you guys to please share this video, because I am in Canada. Canada has one of the world's most permissive assisted suicide programs. Critics say it's a perilous road to mass euthanasia and even more pressure on the sick, disabled, poor to end their lives prematurely. Now, instead of wages being tied to incomes and wages being tied to real estate prices, in Canada, in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, and then the blue states of America, wages and incomes are tied to money laundering. And this is how we've gotten to this point, why they had to pull the trigger on the pandemic, why they pushed us into this corner. So, Coalition of Euthanasia says skyrocketing, and MAID with our medical system had normalized injections. Now, they're actually putting MAID doctors or MAID euthanized doctors that you could find them in every hospital now. And every major healthcare, there it is, every major healthcare institution has a MAID team, which will literally approach everyone who may qualify for MAID and ask them if they want to die. And Health Canada and the federal government agency did not immediately answer the Daily Mail's request for the comment. And this is why I've been telling you guys they want to pull all the news, all Canadian news or Canadian news off of social media websites. They're starting with Facebook and Instagram, and they're going to roll out to YouTube and other platforms to get rid of Canadians or Canadian news internationally, because Canada's going to go dark. That was a video we made a few days ago. And it goes into Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec are among Canada's most populous provinces. Now, if you look at this map, where's that map? Where did that map go? I saw the map here. Let me just bring up this map real quick for you guys here. There it is right there. Now, if you look at these provinces, Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec, they have one thing in common. One thing in common. Old-bred Canadians. Canadian proper living in those provinces. Yeah, you got more in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, but these are basically predominantly British Columbia, not as much anymore because it's more predominantly Chinese, basically taking over the real estate here on the coast, driving people out of the province and moving them into other provinces because of the affordability issues that they cause with money laundering. Now, let's go back here to the article. And here's your graph here. And medically assisted suicides. Let's go to article scan there. Medically assisted suicides in Canada. And in 2016, it was about 1,000 to 2022. And 13,500 projected. And it's gonna. Now, if you take into account the people that are dying at such a young age with no cause of death reported, and if you look at them, they're all pretty much Canadian proper that are dying. And we're not going to get into the whole fentanyl and everything, maybe. But anyways, let's go back to here again. And there's the spearhead of this, Justin Trudeau, who basically the king of Canada, and basically been destroying Canadians since his... Canada's been being destroyed since 2010, once the Vancouver model was instilled. It's not yet clear whether the Liberal government of Pride... Nobody cares about him. And let's move on. Some of Canada's euthanasia cases have courted controversy again. And Canadians are legally behind euthanasia policy, polls show. They're behind it. And again, where did that one go? 1/3 of Canadians fine with prescribing assisted suicide for the homeless. And the resulting in 2016 law legalized both euthanasia and assisted suicide for people aged 18 and over. And now they're trying to euthanize people or kids without parents' consent. And we've been talking about that on the channel on Mike in the Night. So Canada's euthanasia slippery slope. Do you agree or disagree with letting adults seek assisted suicide for the following reasons? And there it is on a chart. And medics asking terminally sick people as many as 5 times if they want. So they're getting pressured to end their lives. They're getting more and more. Medics are probably getting paid per head. And this is why the socialized medicine system in Canada is failed us probably back in 1998, 99. Things started getting really bad in Canada in 1993 when they closed immigration from Europe, or it was almost impossible for Europeans to immigrate in Canada from 1993 because the European expansion has already built the cities already. They don't need the European expansion in Canada anymore, right? And getting asked multiple times. Euthanasia is legal in 7 countries. Let's go to article scan here. Belgium, Canada, Colombia, Luxembourg, Netherlands, New Zealand, and Spain, plus several states in Australia. It's only available to children in Netherlands and Belgium. So that is what's happening. And what baby doesn't get sick when they're born? Babies always go through, they're in a new body, they're spirited in a new body, it's a new thing. They have to practice and get used to their motor skills and start to kind of figure out how this meat sack works. But unfortunately, doctors and all these people with these high-end degrees don't see that. Okay, let's move on. So one third of Canadians fined with prescribing assisted suicide from the homeless. Hungry, poor, and disabled Canadians now seeking assisted suicide. Now, how did they get into this? Well, because of money laundering. Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. Here is the hundreds of billions of dollars that was laundered through Canada via China, 98% from China. 2011 to 2015. In 2010, Vancouver created the Vancouver model, allowing Chinese to bring in their laundered money, and Canadians had to compete with it. And how Chinese gangs are laundering drug money through Vancouver real estate, and the factories in China monitored by the Chinese Communist Party has been actually going ahead and allowing this to happen to destroy Canadian families and Canadian youth. And what else did we say about 2025? So I took a gander on our channel here that no one really watches. Australia residents are now facing homelessness for the first time in their lives, mayhem by 2025. That was only 11 months ago. Nobody cares. That's a post-diction. That's not a prediction. Let's get into some meat and potatoes. More market stimulation ahead. American Proper will be bought out of the West Coast by 2025. 5 years ago. American Proper will be bought out of the West Coast by 2025. Housing market in deep trouble. That's why we call it Amerifornia, where America will turn into California. CIBC bank stock slide. Canadian banks are due to fail. So this is before they pull the trigger on the pandemic. Canadian banks are due to fail. Bail in from taxpayers by 2025. What are happening to banks right now, folks? They're failing. America, this is a national security threat. Chinese government is picking Canada apart. Canada by 2025, 5 years ago. Let's keep moving on here. What do we talk about 2025? Electricity getting too expensive. BC hydro rate frozen. Power set to skyrocket in the near future. 5 years ago. People couldn't afford to pay their electricity bill 5 years ago. So they had to freeze rates, right? Because the electricity in BC is federalized and provincialized, there's no secondary market we could buy electricity for at a better rate. I think people will be priced out of electricity by 2025. Canadians will leave Canada en masse. BC reluctant to impose ban on foreign home buyers. So they don't want to ban foreign home buyers to bring in their laundered money and disenfranchise and leave Canadian cities into empty shells. Same thing in Australia we've been reporting over the last 10 years. Same thing in New Zealand. Same thing in the UK. Same thing in the blue states of America. Same thing. Chinese to take over Seattle housing market. Amerifornia is coming. Vancouver foreign buyers tax. Vancouver puts the foreign buyers tax. Everybody flees to Toronto and Seattle. And America will turn into California. That's why I'm calling it Amerifornia. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK and the blue states of America will be taken over by 2025. 5 years ago. Let's keep going. Robots and AI will destroy 85 million jobs by 2025. AI, artificial intelligence, is a game changer. 2 years ago. Canada is under attack. The Great Canadian Takeover. CCP money laundering. Rest in peace, middle class. 7 years ago. Let's keep going. Will Australia exist in 30 years? 3 years ago. Will Canada exist in 2030? Canada to ramp up immigration. Canada needs offshore money, CCP. Canada will only exist by name by 2030 at this rate. Let's get into the forbidden debate no one wants to talk about for the fear of getting flagged on YouTube. So we had to be careful even 5 years ago. I still have videos getting taken down today from 5, 6, 7 years ago for medical misinformation. The digital prison, Mike in the Night we did, worldwide digital prison. They're building a digital prison around us, digital currency, digital money, digital barometrics. They'll know you, they'll know where you go. From 2017, Mike in the Night, deleted for medical misinformation. Let's keep going. Oh, what did we tell you on here? Like, there's something so big in the works. Either it's a real big hot war that's going to wipe out a percentage of us. Either they're going to pull the trigger on a mass pandemic, or it's going to be something. And it was something. And we warned you about this in 2019. And the channel lost, when I was bringing stuff up like this, the channel lost all credibility. I would get emails and phone calls from people saying, you lost all credibility with me, Mike, in what you think you know. You are obviously a whack job. Your answer to the worldwide protesting and the rioting was they're going to pull the trigger on the pandemic. Good for you, Mike. You lost all your credibility with me. And 2 episodes later, or 3 episodes after this one, we actually said, Mike in the Night, episode 228, they will pull the trigger on a pandemic worldwide riot as world burns, streamed 3 years ago. And there it is right there. And we were giving you cross screens here, showing you how the governments were losing grip and they had to pull the trigger on a pandemic to get things in line. Why? Because of the incredible amounts of money laundering. We're in this position because of money laundering. Guys, please share this video. Let everybody know that we're here. Let everybody know that we've been warning people, and we've been warning people years before. And when channels are doing predictions like this so far ahead into the future, people just don't want to hear it because obviously you're wrong most of the time. But we've been right some of the times. And my biggest regret is not enough people watching us. I'm going to give you guys the link for Mike in the Night if you guys want to watch. Mike in the Night is on Rumble until we get taken down again. There it is right there. You can go to realmikemartins.com for more information on our website. But Mike Martin's channel on Rumble. We're also on Odyssey, and we're rehashing videos from years ago. Economies are falling as millionaires are fleeing from France, Italy, New Zealand, and Spain and Canada. That was 8 years ago. These are all 8 years ago videos that we put up. New Ameridollar to be a reality in North America, looking to implement digital token by 2021. And we talk about the BRICS nations in this one, and that was, I think, 7-8 years ago. I urge you guys to go back and watch some of our historical stuff because it's really good. It kind of paints a picture to where we are today. I ask that you please share this video, get this out there. I'll see you guys on Mike in the Night Live. You could call in and say what you want to say, or call in and give us your opinions on whatever headlines we are reading. Thanks for watching and liking and subscribing. Mike Martins here. I have spoken.